Hello, thank you for joining me today. My subject is beets. Some of us love them, some of us hate them. But for those of you who really like beets, maybe you don't grow them and you would like to. If you have any area like a flower bed or your regular vegetable garden, you can grow beets. Um, to begin with, beets were first domesticated in the Middle East, and then later they were grown in Egypt, Rome, and Greece. At that time, though, people were only using the beet green. But later on down the line, by the Middle Ages, people had realized how good the beetroot itself was for you, and they were using the beet for medication for circulatory problems as well as digestive problems. Um, a beet is usually red, but not always. Some beets are kind of a golden color and some are white. Here is a package of red beets in case you have never seen one. Um, this particular kind, the Detroit dark red, they are a round beet, but there are also some beets that are cylindrical shaped. Beets are very good for you. Every part of the beet is good for you. They are a very rich source of vitamins A, B, and C, folate, potassium, which is good for your heart and your muscular system, iron, manganese, and they're very high in fiber. Some people drink beet juice to help control their blood pressure. Um, Especially if maybe your blood pressure is just starting to go up a little bit, but you don't want to take medication. Sometimes people will drink beet juice like about 8 ounces a day to help stabilize their blood pressure. Beets are also good for people with diabetes too. Um, Beets contain lipoic acid, which helps repair nerve damage, because nerve damage is something that kind of goes hand in hand with people who have diabetes too. Uh, they're also a natural source of tryptophan, which is kind of helps give people a feeling of well-being, kind of mood stabilizer, I guess almost you could say. Uh, they have also been used as aphrodisiacs uh, far back in time. And at first they were thought to make people more attractive, but actually it was just the feeling that they gave people, I guess. Um, and the red the red beets contain butane, which is the red color, and that is really good for your heart health. Now, as far as uses for beets, there are so many ways to prepare beets. You can boil them, you can steam them, you can roast them, you can add them to soups. When they're raw, you can grate them up and add them to your salad. Um, Beet greens themselves are really good in salads when they're very small and immature and have a mild flavor. But as they grow larger, they get kind of a stronger flavor to them, and that's when you can cook them as regular greens like spinach or turnip greens, mustard greens, that sort of thing. Um, they do contain more iron than spinach. Um, Beet juice, like I say, helps people with their blood pressure, stabilize their blood pressure. But the stems are really good roasted in the oven, like you would asparagus. They can be used in stir fry, or you can chop them up and cook them with your beet greens. Um, Beet powder is a big thing nowadays. People like to use beet powder for health reasons, but it is also added to food to give it extra color. And some of the things that it's added to that might surprise you are tomato paste, sauces, jams and jellies, desserts, and breakfast cereals. We don't even realize it's there because it really doesn't have much flavor at all. It, maybe some sweetness, and that's about it. You can buy beet powder by the pound in bags to add to breads or cakes, different things that you like to bake. but you can also find beet powder in pill form. My favorite variety, all-time variety of beets is the Detroit Dark Red. It's an heirloom variety. It's just a great all-around beet. Um, I'd love to make pickled beets. That's probably my favorite way to eat beets. They work wonderful. I pick the beets when they're smaller, and because I like to pickle my beets whole if at all possible. Um, but if I don't pickle them, they're great to roast in the oven. I can freeze them with no problem. Uh, just whatever I want to use them for. This year I tried golden beets, which is also an heirloom variety. Um, to me, they're a little sweeter than a red beet. They were great for roasting. I roasted them in the oven several times and served them with some beet greens. And I also found the greens from the golden beets to be milder in flavor than the greens from the red beets. Um, then there's also albino beets, which of course are just white beets. But to me, they're so sweet, they don't even taste like a beet. They just taste like sugar. They're just that sweet. But all three of those are heirloom varieties. Um, so, like I say, you can pickle beets. The red beets are the best to use. If you use golden beets when to pickle, the pickle brine, because of the vinegar, will cause the color of the beet to leave the beet, just like it would cause the red color of the red burgundy okra to kind of drain out of it because of the vinegar. So keep that in mind if you like pickled beets, want to make pickled beets. The red beets are the best. Um, Roasting is a wonderful thing to do with beets. And you can do this even when the beets are much larger. You can poke them with a fork before you put them in the oven like you would a potato to bake it. And when it's done, slice it open, put butter, salt, pepper, whatever you like on it. Beets can be, after they're cooked, they can be put in the freezer until you want to eat beets again. They can be canned, just regular beets, or you can dehydrate them. You can slice them, put them on your dehydrator shelves, and dehydrate them about 6 to 8 hours. You can put those dried beets in your food processor to make your own beet powder. And the nice thing about beet powder is you really don't realize it's in the food that you're eating, but it gives an extra boost of nutrition for whatever that particular dish may be. Here in southwest Oklahoma, I usually plant my beets in March, about the 1st to 15th of March, and in fall from about August 15th to September 1st. That seems to be about the best time. That way we get around most of the hot weather because beets are a cooler weather plant. You plant your seeds about a 1/2 inch deep. You can start out, if you're planting your beets in a straight row in your garden, you can plant them about 2 inches apart, say, but as they come up, you can make sure that they're spaced about 4 inches apart. That way, each beet has plenty of room to grow. If you like to plant your beets in a wide row like I do, usually my wide row is about a foot across. I sprinkle the seeds on there, and then as they're coming up, I pull up some of them so that they end up being about 4 inches apart. The important thing to remember is to keep your beets watered well. Even as they're coming up, especially as they're coming up, they really need the soil on top to stay damp to help the plant come up out of the ground. But even after they come up, it's important to give them at least an inch or so of water every week. If you don't live in a rainy area, it's very important that you water. Beets are usually ready 55 to 65 days after they come up. And depending on the size you want your beets also determines the amount of time you may let them grow before you pull them up. Beets grow in most types of soils, but they do not like excessively alkaline or acidic soil. So if you've never grown beets in your garden, you may want to test your soil before you actually plant your beets. Um, Before you plant your beets, it's also a good idea to put some well-aged compost in the area where you're going to plant your beets. If you don't make your own compost, you can go to any garden center. You can even go to Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those places in their garden area. They have bags of compost that you can buy. And just sprinkle it out in the area and kind of mix it into the dirt, maybe with a rototiller or a shovel or a rake, something, just to add some extra nutrition to the soil where you're going to grow your beets. Companion planting, as I've mentioned before, is very important because you do not want to plant your beets next to another crop that is going to cause them harm, or they're going to cause the other crop harm. So the crops that beets do the best by are bush beans, onions, and any member of the cabbage family. But you do not want to plant them next to I'm sorry, not bush beans, by pole beans or mustard greens. And so I was thinking to myself, well, pole beans and bush beans, they're all beans. What difference does it make? But there is a difference because they stun each other's growth. Because the beet exudes a substance that kills the beneficial bacteria on the bean roots. And this prevents the beans from adding nitrogen to the soil, but it also stunts the growth of the bean. So bush beans are not affected by beets at all. I hope you, oh, before I stop, I wanted to show you this because this is a quart of pickled beets I made this summer, and I don't know if you can see them very well or not. I hope you can. I was going to tell you about pickling beets real quick. When I harvest my beets to make my pickled beets, I wash them and scrub them very well, and then I put them in a pot and cover them with water and bring them to a boil and let them simmer for a while. Well, after the beets are done, I drain off the juice, but I save the juice off the beets. It's clean. It's like a really brilliant, beautiful reddish purple color. And so when I go to make my brine for the pickled beets, where it says to add, say, 3 cups water, I add 3 cups of the beet juice. I think it just adds a lot more to the beets because vinegar has a tendency to drain color out of vegetables at times. So I think by adding that extra beet juice, it makes them much prettier and may even add some extra nutrition to them. But anyway, this fall I would like to do at least one more batch of pickled beets after I harvest my fall crop. So that's something I'm planning on doing. Also, one thing I want to mention is during the summer, since I've been home, I've had time to actually make a couple videos a week. When school starts back in August, I may not have time to do 2 videos a week, and I'm sorry about that. I'll just have to see how things go, because I know I don't even know what to expect right now when school starts back. So it's going to be different, and I don't know. So anyway, I might have to cut back to 1 video per week, but I will keep doing videos. And some of the videos I do will be in my kitchen rather than in my garden, but I will continue to do videos. I'm really enjoying this. I'm learning a lot, and I hope those of you who are watching are learning a lot as well. I hope you enjoyed my video today, and I appreciate the response I'm getting from you guys about my videos, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube. Those of you who are on Facebook, when I post my videos, if you will just continue to share my videos, with your friends and family on your friends list, I would appreciate it. Remember that if you are interested in me making a video about anything in particular, please let me know, because I always like to know what my viewers are interested in, what you need to learn about, so I can help you. Um, if you liked my video today, please give me a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Um, until next time, please take care of yourself, take care of your family, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.